If the way right, then we straight right. I get money, Kid Cudi, day and night.
Saying every action creates a reaction, and one thing leads to another, as we see with everything that's taking place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It all started with the governor, Tim Walz, the mayor, Jacob Fry, and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. And that put the attention on the Somalian community, which exposed billions of dollars in fraud with daycares, you know, the Learning Center and everything like that. And that brought out the feds. ICE, DHS, and Border Patrol showed up in Minneapolis because of this. And that brought out the protesters. And a 37-year-old lady lost her life. And that caused a whole lot of beef between the feds and protesters, agitators, and rioters. And things have been getting ugly in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Between the protesters and ICE, the streets have been getting tore up. We gonna get into all that. And on top of that, Donald Trump has ended TPS for all Somalians. So it's getting super ugly and it's all bad. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. Let's get into it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Vassalero, and we are following breaking news right now out of North Minneapolis. A federal officer has shot someone in a neighborhood of North Minneapolis. This shooting comes exactly 1 week after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good.
So as we see, things are getting ugly and things are going to another level, because right now we have people fighting with ICE, and ICE is starting to bust on people, and people are getting shot. And I believe things are going to go to a whole nother level of violence between the protesters, the rioters, the agitators, and ICE and Border Patrol, you know, all the feds that's out there right now.
In South Minneapolis. This is a live chopper shot. We're talking about an area of around 24th Avenue North. We already have a statement from the Department of Homeland Security. This all began around 7 o'clock this evening. They tell us that federal law enforcement officers were targeting a traffic stop of what they call an illegal alien from Venezuela. They said this person evaded arrest, got out of the car and ran, crashed his vehicle. He said the person then got out and started running on foot. The federal officer caught up to the person who was running away, tried to go ahead and arrest him, and they say he resisted and violently began to assault the officer. They say that while the federal agent was on the ground, there was a struggle, and two people came out of a nearby apartment and then started to attack the federal officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle.
Like I said, the violence is going to go to a whole nother level between the people in the streets and ICE agents. I mean, these people came out and actually attacked the ICE officer that was trying to arrest another man. They jumped him and they assaulted him with shovels and broomsticks. It's crazy. So you already know, with this going on, ICE is going to be taking a more aggressive approach when they're trying to make these arrests and when they're encountering the rioters, the agitators, and the protesters. It's going to get ugly, man. It's getting ugly, and it's going to be even uglier.
Officer said that he was being attacked by those three people now and fearing for his life, took out his weapon and fired his shots. One hit the original person he was chasing in the leg. They say all three people then ran back in the apartment and barricaded themselves inside. The officer who was attacked trying to make the arrest and also the person from Venezuela who he shot are both in the hospital right now.
Now, these people came out and assaulted the officer with sticks, but that's going to change eventually, I believe. I think they're going to start fighting fire with fire. These people are going to start assaulting these officers, maybe with guns. It's going to be a lot of gun battles going on between people in the streets and the ICE agents, because things are getting turned up to a whole nother level, man. It's up. It's up right now. And it's not looking good.
You see there is a large police presence on that entire block, lots of flashing lights, a lot of people who are now alerted to what's going on as well. And of course, this comes 7 days after another shooting involving a federal officer. Our Ashley Grams is on the ground there. She's on the scene near 24th Avenue North in Minneapolis. Ashley, what have you seen? What can you tell us?
Yeah, Frank, of course, you mentioned that chopper shot. We can see this investigation is still ongoing. We know federal agents and law enforcement are still in this area just behind me, and of course a crowd of protesters as well. It wasn't long after our photojournalist arrived on scene that other people did as well, and you can probably hear those whistles. We've been hearing those throughout the Twin Cities. Those are supposed to signify the presence of federal law enforcement, and we see a lot of folks here lashing out at these federal agents as they drive in and out of this area. I personally saw someone kicking at a car as federal agents were trying to get through. We've also seen folks pointing fireworks in the direction of these officers as they continue to block off this area. So you can see the crowd.
I mean, people are using sticks. They're using fireworks. Like I said, it's only going to go to the next level where people are going to be using guns. It's going to be all-out war in the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and probably across the United States with ICE. But I do want to say that ICE has done the same thing that they're doing in Minneapolis in other states, and things hasn't escalated to the level that it's escalating to in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're going to keep an eye on this, and we're going to pay close attention to what's going on over there, because this is just the beginning, and there's going to be a lot more to come with this situation that's going on.
Gathered here, and there's actually some tape they had up that has now fallen to the ground. A lot of these folks not happy to see these agents here in this neighborhood. They continue to voice their opposition and also aggression at times. We know that there was a armored car who actually tried to come around here, get into this area. Our photojournalist saw that armored car surrounded, and he said it eventually turned around. You might be able to see that sign there kind of on the right of this crowd. It says ICE out now, and that's what some of these protesters are trying to communicate. Now, we have seen these folks moving around because this is a pretty large area. We've got several streets blocked off here. At times they say, you know, we see ICE agents on this side, come to this side. So this group is fluid.
I see a lot of people out there, but I think a lot of those people out there that we see, at least right now, are not trying to really get involved and get into it with ICE. They're just out there being spectators. There's action going on, and they're being nosy, and there's probably a good few people out there that are trying to get content. A lot of recording going on. I see people walking around with cell phones recording everything. So I think it's just a lot of nosy people for the most part. But there are agitators, protesters, and people that are ready to riot and fight it out with ICE.
moving around this area trying to oppose these agents at this point. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on what we see here. We have seen what appears to be tear gas that's been deployed, as well as some flashbangs as well, as this crowd continues to clash with agents in this area. Frank, back to you.
Ashley, I know I probably have more facts about what happened than you did since you've been out there, but did you see an ambulance? Did you see anyone being put into it? We understand that this Venezuelan immigrant, or possibly undocumented Venezuelan, was shot in the leg by ICE. Did you see? And then we also understand the ICE agent had to go to the hospital as well. Did you see anyone getting taken away by ambulance earlier?
I personally did not see an ambulance, and actually a lot of people here on scene seem to be trying to determine what's going on for themselves as well. A lot of people out here unsure of what happened inside this area that's under investigation.
Oh, so those folks might not even be aware of what went down. They just see the presence of ICE and they're reacting.
Sure, that could be why some of the folks are out here. They hear those whistles. They come out to ask what's going on. There are other people who seem to understand that there is some kind of possibly, a shooting going.
Like I said, I think a lot of those people out there are just observing what's happening. It's a lot of action going on, and they just want to see it. They're being nosy. They're collecting content, and they're just observing everything that's going on out there with ICE and the people that are trying to fight against ICE. But the one thing that I am noticing, the people that a lot of these protesters, rioters, and agitators are fighting against ICE about, they're not out there. Those people are in the house, hiding, trying to stay out of ICE's way, trying to stay out of their sight. And I think that a lot of these protesters and, people out there trying to riot, they need to go in the house, man. I mean, they're out there acting crazy and causing mayhem and chaos out there in the streets because a lady put herself in a bad position and she lost her life. I think it's unfortunate that happened to her, but at the same time, I gotta blame her for putting herself in that position and doing what she did to lose her life. And I don't think that these people should be out here causing all this chaos and mayhem over that.
On with law enforcement, but a lot of people out here who are responding, you're walking past us, trying to ask questions, trying to figure out what's going on, and of course we're trying to do that as well.
Yeah, I get it. We saw that chopper shot, Ashley, just so you're aware, on one of the parallel streets to where you are, we saw several law enforcement vehicles with flashing lights heading down that way. I don't know if their intent is to try to get their own people out or try to go ahead and disperse these protesters, but I know this is now spread into, a much bigger area than the intersection that you're at. Are you at 24th? I don't even know what cross street you're at up there.
Are you calling this murder?
And Frank, I'm going to toss it back to you right now as we continue to learn more about what's going on here.
That the Trump administration.
I don't blame her for shutting it down after that guy came up to the camera yelling what he was yelling. Because like I always say, you got to use common sense, and her common sense definitely kicked in, and she made the right choice by shutting it down and probably getting out of there once she seen things getting a little heated up. So shout out to her for using common sense, because as we see these days, common sense is not that common. And people really need to start using their common sense and making the right decisions and choices, especially in situations like this.
Has ended the temporary protection status for Somalis in the United States. We're taking a look here at a social media post courtesy of Fox News, and Fox News Digital saying this: the Trump administration is ending temporary protection status for Somalia, affecting several thousand Somalis currently living in the U.S.
It's all bad for the Somalians. It's all out war for the Somalians right now. They ended TPS for all Somalians. It's getting ugly, man. And it doesn't sound like it's too safe for the Somalians to be out in the streets or anywhere in the United States right now. I don't know, man. Maybe they want to just pack up and get up out of here. But I know a lot of Somalians are arrogant and they feel like they have the right to be here. But it sounds like their right to be here was only temporary.
And several hundred currently living in Minnesota under the protection. Somali migrants with TPS will be required to leave the country by March 17th. Department of Homeland Security Secretary
Man, they only giving them to March 17th to pack up and get up out of here. That's crazy, man. And it didn't seem like it was a big number of Somalians that are here under this TPS thing. So what about all the other ones? I mean, what's their status and where do they sit in all this? Does this mean that they need to get up and get out of here as well, or what does this mean?
Nome told Fox News Digital in the statement, quote, "Temporary means temporary. Country conditions in Somalia have improved to the point that it no longer meets the law's requirement for temporary protected status." That statement went on to say, quote, "Further, allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is currently and contrary to our national interests. We are putting Americans first." Bringing us out to a live...
She said temporary means temporary. It's time for y'all to go. We started this back in 91. It's 2026. Y'all have overstayed y'all's welcome. Get up out of here. That's cold, man. It's getting ugly for them Somalians right now.
Image that we have of the White House over in Washington, D.C., as I continue to cite some more of this reporting courtesy of Fox News Digital. Sources tell Fox News Digital that there are 2,471 Somali nationals currently in the U.S. under TPS, with just over 1,300 in the country with pending TPS applications. The move comes as DHS continues ICE operations in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after a widespread, roughly $9 billion fraud scheme involving members of the Somali community plagued the state. Fox News Digital learned that an estimated 600 Somali nationals who are protected by TPS live in Minnesota. Now, Somalia was granted temporary protection status in 1991 as a result of an ongoing civil war in the African nation. Former President Biden most recently extended the protection in September of 2024. Now, the decision to end TPS for Somalia also comes a day after Minneapolis, the Twin Cities there, Minneapolis and St. Paul, sued the Trump administration after a historic federal immigration enforcement operation was launched by ICE and DHS. Last week, during ICE operations in South Minneapolis, a woman was fatally shot by an immigration officer as she drove her vehicle toward agents, prompting agitators to riot across the city and in cities across the U.S. Secretary.
I said it before and I'm going to say it again. I blame everything that's going on right now in these streets with the ICE agents and the protesters and everybody going at it with each other on the Democrats. It's the Democrats that left those borders open and let all these people in here. And now we see what we have right now, a whole bunch of chaos in the streets. And I'm going to say this, and I want to be clear. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am not conservative, and I am not liberal. But it is what it is, man. The truth is the truth, and I'm going to keep it real. All of this is the Democrats' fault.
Nome labeled this The woman who was killed, Renee Nicole Good, a quote domestic terrorist, saying quote she weaponized her vehicle after blocking ICE agents on the road. Now footage from the encounter shows an agent approaching Good's vehicle and ordering her to step out, and according to Nome, Good then attempted to run over the officer.
Let me just stop it right there one time. I just want to say that I think it was unfortunate that that lady lost her life, but she did not use common sense. And she lost her life. I do not think that she is a terrorist, even though she's connected with those groups that basically go against and fight ICE. I think that she is not a terrorist. She's just a big dummy that pulled a dummy move. I don't think she's a terrorist. She's just a big ass dummy, in my opinion.
Prompting the agent to fire multiple shots into the car, killing the 37-year-old mother. Now, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is saying quite the contrary to that, and also telling ICE agents to get out of Minneapolis during a news conference that he held after Good's death. Governor Tim Walz there of Minnesota criticized DHS, posting to X that he saw the video and referred to Nome's explanation of the incident as a part of a, quote, propaganda machine.
I think it's so dumb that people like the mayor and the governor does not want to work with ICE. That does not make sense. Can anybody make that make sense? Please do.
But we just wanted to bring you this breaking news coming out of the Trump administration, as they did confirm to Fox News Digital that they are ending the temporary protective status for Somalis in the U.S.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
This is what I'm saying about common sense. And this is on both sides, because this guy, Nick Shorter, even though he's an independent journalist and he's out there creating content and trying to capture everything as it unfolds, it's dangerous out there. He is not using common sense. And those people that are banging on his windows and jumping on the hood of his car, they are definitely not using common sense, because you're going to get your ass ran over. And then you're going to want to act like a victim after you do it when you're attacking this man. And it goes the same for this guy. I guarantee you he'll play a victim if they actually get their hands on him and do harm to him. But he's putting himself out there in the position right in the middle of everything. I mean, where's the common sense? We got to start using common sense out here.
I can't wait for artificial intelligence to get applied to these videos and those fools yelling threats are unearthed. Can you imagine all of those felonies? Nick Sorter, an independent journalist and influencer out there trying to survive, surrounded by agitators who were jumping on and vandalizing his car. He was finally able to get away. He couldn't even move the vehicle. Meanwhile, Department of Homeland Security has released this brand new video. Please watch your screen. It's leading up to the shooting and the death of Renee Good by an ICE agent. What we now know, though, is so much more with each video we see. DHS is now calling out mainstream media for failing to cover the new video. The agency argues Renee Good was stalking and impeding during an ongoing investigation, and the evidence is on the tape. Speaks for itself on this post. Vice President J.D. Vance says the agent shot Renee Good in self-defense. However, some left-leaning Minnesota leaders, well, you know, they've been rocking a narrative from the beginning, calling it murder. You know how it is, so we know how they feel.
Yeah, Renee Nicole Good, as you hear her.
Ilhan Omar. One big lying. She lies, man. Everything that comes out of her mouth sounds like a lie. And I hate to hear her speak, man. I hate the way she speaks. It's so irritating, man. I really do not like this lady, and I cannot stand when she speaks. With her lying ass.
Say she's not mad. She's sitting in her car, peacefully waving cars to get by.
Anybody can see that this victim is not a domestic terrorist. I mean, my good.
Another liar. Jacob Fry, the mayor. They need to put his ass in jail. He need to have charges brought up on him because I believe he's in cahoots with the Somalians and all the fraud that has been going on. I have seen the videos of him dancing, you know, pop locking and everything with the Somalians and even speaking in Somalia or Somalian. That was crazy. So he's definitely in cahoots with them Somalians and he needs charges brought up on him.
She's like doing a 3 or a 4 or 5 point turn. This looks like somebody that's trying to get out of there. If doing a 3-point turn or a 4-point turn is a domestic terrorist, then my wife is a criminal every single day.
Okay.
His wife probably is a criminal. She might be mixed in the cahoots that he's mixed in with, you know, with those Somalians. So maybe your wife is a criminal, because you definitely are, in my opinion.
Well, it's clear he doesn't know how to drive, because I didn't see a 4 or 5 point turn going on there, but what I did see was what you saw.
Yeah, what videos have they been watching? I mean, the most important video that has been published to date is that one on Friday by Alpha News, and it gives the perspective of the ICE officer. And that you can clearly see that Good accelerated towards the police officer. You can also hear the thump of his body when he was hit by the car. You can also see the antagonizing that took place by her partner in the lead up to this event as well. And in my opinion, it absolves the police officer from, or the ICE agent from wrongdoing here. But I just, for these protesters and also the Walz administration and Democrats in Minneapolis and Minnesota, this is what they're defending. Our own Bill Malhusian tweeted out a list that ICE put out of some of the individuals that they have captured in this surge in Minneapolis. And we are talking about dozens of the worst, convicted child rapists, sodomizers, plus 10 killers. We're talking about one individual sexual assault and sodomy of a girl under 13 years old. Another individual rape of a 12-year-old and kidnapping. Another individual homicide. Another 3 counts of homicide. So why exactly are these individuals protecting?
Exactly. Why are they protecting these people, man? Why would you protect a person that would do anything bad to a kid? You know, I stick to the G code. And one thing about that is when it comes to women and children, you do not harm them. That is a no-go zone. Women and children are off limits. And anybody that does any harm to a woman or to a child, they gotta go, man. And anything that they get, they deserve it. Stop trying to protect these people, man.
These killers, these sodomizers, and these child rapists? And why is Minnesota giving them sanctuary?
Right.
It's disgusting.
I want to bring this into 18 United States Code 111 states it's a felony to forcibly assault, resist, oppose, impede, intimidate, or interfere with federal officers. And there you see it right now. Emily, I want to ask you about the law and how it applies to the wife, because she was taunting. She can be seen and heard very clearly on video. In fact, she's got to have her own, because a lot of it she's taping. So I wonder if they have that, too, from her perspective.
I'll say this, too, and this is just my personal opinion from watching those videos, but you can see the wife trying to get into the vehicle.
Yes.
And then it's her voice, there's multiple layers of voices, but her voice that says, hey, hey, because...
I said it once and I'm going to say it again. The wife needs to be charged in Renee's good. And, you know, she needs to be charged because Renee Good lost her life. I mean, she was on the sideline telling her to drive. So I feel like she is partially responsible for Renee Good losing her life. And they need to press charges on her, and she needs to go to jail for even being out there agitating ICE.
The driver is driving away and isn't letting her in. So there's like all of these different slices of the pie that are occurring simultaneously. And my point is that to me is evidence that Nicole was not, or that the subject was not fleeing per se, because if she was, she would have waited for her wife to get in the car. There was something else going on, and this will be presented before likely a jury to determine that. I want to talk about for a second the Nick Sorter attacks, because that's an unfortunate, it's actually a horrific pattern that we've been seeing. Remember the Andy Ngo and Nick Shirley and Nick Sorter and so many journalists, they're independent journalists, and they're covering these left-wing liberal protests. But then they get violently attacked. They are threatened, they are physically impeded instead of debated, and then this sort of crowd intimidation escalates, and Andy Ngo had to go to the hospital. There are horrific stories of physical violence that independent journalists have suffered, not to mention what happens after.
Yeah, he's an independent journalist, and he was out there trying to capture the action as it unfolded, but he should have been using common sense and kind of keeping a distance from all those people. Because as we can see, tensions are high. These people out here are mad. He put himself in that position as well. Use your common sense, Nick Sorter.
Afterward, this inverse narrative that somehow they were the provocateur. We heard Governor Walz, for example, call, and this is a separate legal issue that he was talking about, Nick Shirley, but I'm talking about these independent journalists, called him a conspiracy theorist and a white supremacist. But the victims all of a sudden become those hecklers, these provocateurs, these violent individuals, and then obviously the media, it doesn't follow their narrative, so they're muted or they're not talking about it. And then in those progressive areas, we don't see a law enforcement moving toward arresting and accountability of those people. And
Why
here's
not?
what's interesting. Nick Shirley talked about this recently on a podcast. He said, you know, I was a journalist, but now I've been forced into activism. Because I was attacked simply for reporting the truth, now I actually do have to take a stand and say my opinion, because it's those liberal, left-wing, violent activists. And we talk about all the time that the Dems say, or the libs say, they were trained activists. Well, if you were trained, you should know the law. And you should know that your motor vehicle becomes a deadly weapon. And you should know what exactly is towing the line and what exactly is putting an officer in imminent threat of bodily harm or people around you.
Maybe they do know it. They don't care. But I tell you, one name
That's what it is. They know it, but they don't care. And that's why they ass need to go to jail.
And that's Charlie Kirk. And he was not an independent journalist. You don't need a title.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me pause it right there. I don't know why she's bringing up this guy. I don't want to hear nothing about that guy.
You don't need a title for these people to press against. You know what you have? You have a point of view. You have freedom in your voice, and you have truth in your voice, and they hate us for it. And they're willing to kill some of these people. So I'm not sure. I can't separate them out from the day that you witnessed, because you were there in Utah with Charlie Kirk. I can't separate them out because I don't believe what they say. I see what they do.
Where is the Minneapolis Police Department? You have a First Amendment right to do
On a
things.
stand-down order? I don't know. Let's call.
Minneapolis PD, it's hit or miss with them right now. They do not have any power, and they do not have any control in those streets right now. They cannot be counted on or depended on for backup in these situations. And most of that is because of the Democrats. Once again, I'm going to have to blame that on the Democrats. It's hit or miss with the MPD right now. They have no power in those streets right now. They definitely do not have any control in those streets right now.
And so they are making the Democrats own this issue now. They went from defunding the police to not engaging the police to not having them participate. They are trying to make sure that you If you do get arrested, you don't get prosecuted. They just continue to escalate this. And what's going on in Minneapolis, these people have a right to be down in the trenches. But Nick Sorter shouldn't have to go through that. That has nothing to do with ICE. That has everything to do with law and order on the streets of Minneapolis.
You know, part of the conversation going on in both Minnesota and other places, Portland now, is that ICE is not law enforcement. The Immigration Customs, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is a law enforcement agency within the Department of Homeland. It has two main force arms, HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, and ERO, Enforcement and Removal Operations. Yeah. They are clearly the tip of the spear in law enforcement.
Yeah, and I feel like this isn't being communicated by people that could really help in this situation, that is the fact, because a lot of the protesters, and particularly those that continue to block roads, feel like they're pushing back against someone that doesn't have the right to even talk to them. They have this attitude like they don't know what they're doing is illegal. And I think that's a concern. And that clarity, just even the clarity from Minnesota leaders, from state leaders, from local leaders, that vehicles can be dangerous. And, you know, you shouldn't be attacking vehicles, throwing things at vehicles, which we've seen with ICE agents and in that Nick Sorter video, attacking journalists. Stay away from vehicles. Don't use your vehicle as part of a protest. It is large, it is dangerous, and hopefully we don't see incidents where protesters are hit by vehicles accidentally or anything along the lines that we've seen unfold thus far. But I wish the authorities would be more clear that ICE has the legal rights to be where they're going, and that vehicles can be dangerous broadly. Like, this is a bad idea.
Well, which authorities? Because Governor Walz isn't going to make that point.
And that's what I mean.
He's running from the authorities himself. Have you seen the fraud? Have you seen that case up against him? Anyway, different topic, but man, that guy's in a lot of hot water.
That was funny. She kind of cracked me up with that. Have you seen the fraud? She's a fool for that one. Yeah, man, there's a lot going on over there in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and St. Paul as well. And as we see in this clip that's coming up next, ICE is not playing. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car. It doesn't matter if you're inside your residence, because they will break in and pull you out.
We're trying to get status. You got a Honduran here. We're trying to get status. Texas tag. You got it? That's fine. Open the door. I'll break the window. On 1, 2. I'm going to break it. Open the door. Open it. Last warning.
Buddy just had to fuck around and find out, didn't he? Sitting in the car, shaking his head, no. I'm not opening the door. I'm not getting out. Man, they gonna bust up in that thing and pull you out. You're either gonna come by choice or you gonna come by force. It's up to you what you want to do.
Back up, back up. Tough guy. Hey, back here. I told you once. Back up. Back up, sir. Back up, sir. Give him your hat! Give him your hat! Now! Give him your hat! Give him your hat! We're not going anywhere! Just don't go any farther.
word from the wise. If you get approached by ICE and they're trying to detain you, just go ahead and give up. Don't try to resist. Don't try to fight. Why would you want to end up face down in a gas station, face on the ground? Quit resisting. Just give up. Once they run up on you, it's over, man. You're not getting away. We haven't seen anybody win against ICE yet. You do all this resisting, you do all this fighting and kicking and spitting. Only thing that happens is you end up on the ground, you end up hogtied, and you get carried away. You're not gonna win.
Okay. Stay back. Back up. Back up. We caught it backing up. Don't you understand? Stay back. Take your mask off. You're going inside? Everybody step back. Get back. Get back. Stay back. Stay back. Stay back. What did he do to you? Stay back. What did he do to you? Hey,
it looked like Buddy was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know if he was just a observer standing on the sidelines watching, or if he was being an agitator and cussing and yelling at ICE. Whatever the case was, they snatched his ass up. They definitely snatched him up, and he's getting hogtied and getting carried away. You're not gonna win. Stay away from ICE. Stay out of their sight, and do not try to fight with them, and do not resist when they run up on you. You ain't gonna win, man.
do not put your vehicle in here. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. Hey.
And as we hear Buddy's like, I'm not resisting, but at this point, things are so heated, ICE ain't trying to hear none of that. So your ass is getting hogtied, and they gonna carry you up out of there. Sounds like Buddy, or it looks like Buddy, had to fuck around and find out. It's a lot of that going on right now, and there's gonna be a whole lot of that going on in 2026 and beyond, because like I said before, this is just the beginning, man. There's a lot more to come.
Hey, I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. Nobody did. I'm not resisting. Cowards are here. Back up. I'm not resisting. Put your arms. You're not doing shit. Leave me alone. Put your arms behind your back. Hey, my girlfriend's right behind you. Give us a phone number. My girlfriend's right behind me. Once you guys get him in, let's get him into Victor 3, okay?
Sound like you want them to grab his girl too. I wouldn't even mention that my girl is with me or even around the area if I was going through this. So what, you want your girl to get hog-tied and dragged away with you, shut your mouth, man, and just go through the process, man. You got to do what you got to do at this point.
I'm going to victory, please. That's what they said. Victory, please. Give him a good pat down. Once you get him up, give him a good pat down. Put him in the vehicle. You do what? All right, we're glad you. Pick up his leg. Back up, you guys. That's a fucking bitch. Hey, Max. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't let me fucking play, you guys. Hey, back up. Move the shit, move the back. Sorry? I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Back the up!
ICE is not playing. They're running up on you no matter where you at. They catch you in traffic, they gonna block you off, they gonna jump out, and they snatching you up. And please do not use your car and try to ram them. We already seen what happened with Nicole Good. ICE ain't playing.
Shame on you! Force is not law! Force is not law! You are not following the law!
Don't do it. Don't do it. ICE is damn near not even taking any chances with anybody running them over anymore. They are jumping through the window. They are hopping in your back seat. It almost looks like a carjacking. And the way they take these people away some of the time, from what I've been seeing, it almost looks like a kidnapping, even though we know that it is not a kidnapping. It almost appears like a kidnapping in broad daylight in plain sight. But, I mean, they got to come with the aggression right now because people are being aggressive towards them. They have no choice. They got to operate the way they operate at this point. Man, they snatched her up and they took her car. It's all bad. It doesn't matter. Man, woman, in your house, in your car, it doesn't matter. They're coming for you. And like I said before, I am not Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am not a liberal. I am not a conservative. But what's right is right. And if you are here in the United States illegally, I believe you need to go. You need to get out of here. It is not right for us Americans for you to be here taking advantage of all the resources that could go to a lot of people that belong here. And it is not right to the people that went through all the legal processes, probably even paid money to be here. They did it right, and they belong here too. It is not right to any of us for you to be here if you are here illegally. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel.